All right, welcome everybody we're at Monday Night Team Call here, and I'm Jamie Haskin. I'm a Diamond Ambassador, and talking with you guys tonight. I put the title of this as Leveraging Problems for Success in Your Business, and gathering some content from good old John Maxwell for this. If you don't listen to his podcast, he has a great podcast and brings in some great leadership people on his team that also contribute to that, which is great. But anyway, wanted to talk to you guys about this and in terms of the concept of this and why even bring this up. Obviously, we all like why to talk about problems. We all have problems, right? We have them in life, we have them in our business, we have them in family, we have them, anywhere and everywhere. Problems exist. They are here. And a lot of times they're intermingled in one way or another. But on the other side of that, we also tend to not want problems, right? We don't go looking for them typically. We aren't excited for them. We aren't asking for them. We're not, praying at night for God to bring us problems, right? That's not something that we want in life. And to take that a step further, I would say that we typically naturally maybe tend to want to avoid problems. That possibly might be a thing. Sometimes it could feel like an indication that something is wrong or something is wrong with us, or we think that problems are going to hurt us. It's an indication of who we are. Maybe, an indication that something's not working. People tend to be problem avoiders. But the problem with that is problems are a part of success. And there is no getting around that. Problem solving is a part of leadership. But what if I told you that you cannot have any success without having problems? And maybe that's kind of like a duh thing. But if you think about it, it kind of is counterintuitive for being a problem avoider, right? Or not wanting problems. But if problems are a part of our success and it's a part of leadership, then that is something we have to acknowledge and we have to not avoid, right? It's vital for our success. So if that is the case, that means that there actually must be problems that we have to solve. We actually have to have problems, which means we cannot be pretending that there isn't a problem. We can't be avoiding it. We can't hide our head in the sand from the problems that come around us. So if you are doing this in your home life, then maybe you're not facing a reality, right? You're just a part of the problem, or maybe you're growing the problem, right? If we're hiding from it or avoiding it. If we're doing this as a leader, then you are out of sync with your leadership and your team. If you get paralyzed by problems, and if they're ignored altogether, then we're actually moving backwards. We're losing ground, we're losing credibility. So John Maxwell says that problems come disguised, or excuse me, he says that opportunities come disguised as problems. Opportunities come disguised as problems. And if they weren't attached to problems, if opportunities were not attached to problems, then everybody would take advantage of opportunities, right? Opportunities would be in abundance. Everyone would be successful. But because they are attached to problems, not everyone is willing to actually face said problems, right? Not everyone's willing to work through those hard things. They're not willing to learn from them or grow from them. So we have to find these disguised opportunities, right? If this is truly the case, if problems are where our opportunities lie, then this is where breakthroughs happen, right? And if we knew this, we're not going to run from them. We're not going to hide from them. We're not going to avoid them. Problems are essential to our success. Write that down somewhere. Put that somewhere where you're going to remember it or see it. Problems are essential to my success. If that is something that we are facing and recognizing every day, that's going to change how we face them and how we show up, right? So how do we leverage problems to create success and to create opportunities. John Maxwell gives an acronym for the word problems. So the first thing is P. He says they are predictors. So problems move around us, or sorry, they make us move. It's an indication that something requires attention. There is a need somewhere. We have to move towards that. So what is that problem predicting to me? What is it indicating to me? Assess what that is. And you can possibly solve the problem before it escalates. So if you have home life stuff going, this applies to everything, right? But home life stuff going on. I think of my husband, and I've said this before, so some of you have probably heard me, but my husband always uses the phrase, we're chasing our tails, right? So, and if I'm saying this again, it means that we probably haven't done very well in solving this problem. So real life example here, but chasing our tails, right? So in reactive mode. So maybe things are running into each other. We're probably not planning in advance enough on something, or we're not being disciplined enough with priorities. So things are kind of colliding and we're just running quick from one thing to the other and just feels chaotic, right? So be that home life with a problem, be that your business, be that, in business, we can look at with Plexus, the 4 pillars: retention, duplication, recruiting, leadership. Where are there problems? If it's retention and people are falling off, but you don't know why or where or when, there might be a problem you need to look into. Duplication, what is or is not being duplicated? Is recruiting, are you meeting standards for yourself and your goals, and is your team doing the same? Leadership, are you leading? Are you stretching yourself? Are you stepping into roles that you want to or you have goals to? Are you creating leaders? So looking in different areas, looking for those problems. Problems get us out of our comfort zone. They don't let us stay the same. They require a decision. They require us to move. So naturally, a natural state as a human is to try and make ourselves comfortable. And problems do not do that. So if problems do not make us comfortable, if problems are not easy, if we naturally want to stay comfortable, that means we're going to have to actively work against what we naturally want to do, which means we have to actively work to lean into these problems, right? If you naturally want to avoid a confrontation, maybe you don't want to do something that scares you. Maybe you're avoiding changing a habit that you're comfortable in. We likely know the problems that we all face and maybe even the solutions, right? But are we avoiding the things that need to be done to work towards that? That could be because we want to stay comfortable, right? So we have to work against that. Being disciplined is not natural. It actually takes work for people. It's not that someone else just intrinsically is better disciplined than someone else and it's super easy. But it takes work. So we all can work towards that. But to effectively problem solve, I would dare say that that's going to require discipline on some level or another, right? All right, the R is for reminder out of the word problems that we're working through here. R is reminder. Life is difficult. Leadership is not easy. It takes work. There's no such thing as coasting your way to success. Success does not just happen to people. Believe it or not. It's not that these people just got it over here. Like they have the it factor, right? It's not that, there's something intrinsically special about people that are at the top of this company. But I will say that people who are at the top of this company both have problems and actively problem solve. They haven't run, and I was just going to say a very not correct word, but they haven't hid from all their problems. But they have them and they problem solve. So not everyone responds to problems the same way. Mark Cole says you can't moan and lead you can't moan and lead at the same time. Probably pretty accurate. Who wants to be on a moaning leader's team? Do you? I know I don't. That affects not only you, it affects your people, it affects your team. Who wants to fight? Like, Are you someone that someone is going to want to follow? Are you a moaner? Another quote says, everyone has problems. It's how you choose to deal with them. Some choose to be winners. Some choose to be whiners. Some choose to be victims, while others choose to be victors. So choose to have the mindset that you're ready to tackle the problem. It will make you a better leader, and it will make you someone that others will want to follow. The O is for opportunities. John Maxwell says that almost every opportunity came to him as a problem. That is very simple, but super powerful. Like if every opportunity that made a massive impact in his life came to him as a problem, I mean, I think about what opportunities could we be missing? What problems have we avoided? How long did it take us to lean into a problem and to learn from something versus, how much time did we expand to avoid something? Weeks, months, years? If every opportunity came to us as a problem, we have really all this opportunity right on the other side of the problems that we could be facing, right? So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to change? How are you going to change? And even though there are opportunities in problems, it doesn't mean that there's going to be success on the other side of that automatically. And I say that because problems get squandered every day, right? They get wasted. It can just stay a problem. People can be apathetic about it or can wallow in it, right? We have that choice. We can blame ourselves. We can have regret. We can assign blame to other people or to other things or reasons. So make problems into opportunities. That is a choice. It is an action step. It's intentional, and it's something that has to be chosen over and over and over again. It's a conscious decision. A problem presented is a best friend if acknowledged. So identify the problem, choose to turn it into an opportunity, and that's what you get to do for yourself. And that's what you get to do as a leader for others. The B is for blessings. Problems can be wake-up calls for us because there really in life can be a tendency to coast, to live on like automatic pilot, to have great habits, but just let your habits take control, to go through the motions, to check the boxes. And the problem with that is we don't have to really think and be creative. And we can just be getting by to get by. And maybe that's okay for a little bit, but we might not be improving or living on purpose or up to our potential or with intention, right? So problems can kind of kick us in the butt a little bit. They can kind of be that wake-up call to keep us on our toes, to provide that opportunity for growth. So they're blessings. L is for lessons. Every problem has a lesson. So what is your greatest lesson ever learned? Almost every time someone will mention a failure in their life or a problem with that question. So lessons only come if you're brave enough and humble enough to look at our own role and what we are going to do moving forward. It means that problems require taking ownership. And I get it. Sure, life happens to us in a lot of ways, right? Maybe we can sometimes feel like a pawn in somebody else's chess game. We can feel like we don't have control, or, it's because of this reason or that reason. We can easily point to a thing or a person that caused a problem. But I will ask you, does that actually serve you? To live in that space, does that serve you? Does it improve anything? Does it solve anything? Leadership is your influence. So put the control of the problem back into your hands. Take the wheel driving it. Not the person who you think created the problem. And if there is a problem, it's my problem, right? If I got a problem, it's my problem. I have to get over it. I have to take ownership. And once I take ownership, then I can get to work to start solving it. And then that can open the door for me to find opportunity and blessing. And it doesn't mean that you can't feel the pain and the frustration. It doesn't mean life isn't difficult. It doesn't mean things aren't hard, right? John Maxwell's game plan he's shared before for dealing with problems and dealing with failures. He says he gives himself 24 hours. You got 24 hours to celebrate a success or 24 hours to cry over a failure. And after that, he moves on. He says, as a leader, I can't let yesterday control today. So take the time to feel the feels. Take the time to be frustrated in a moment if something, didn't happen or you're dealing with a hard thing or whatever it is. But choose to move forward from that as well. You can't find the lesson if you don't have your emotions in check. So be frustrated, have that day. But if you are living in that space too long, if you find yourself now like you've lived in that space for far too long, maybe is it time for you to come out of it? So once you can see the blessing, then you can learn the lesson. E is for everywhere. Problems are everywhere, right? I said that at the beginning, they're here. You hear the grass is greener mentality. A lot of times you have people looking one way or the other, looking to the side, comparing to this person over there, comparing to that thing over there, thinking, oh, well, they got it better, or this person has that. Problems are going to be on the other side of the fence. Problems are with every person. Problems are with the people who you think are the most successful in this business and just seem to have it all going perfectly. They got problems too. We all got problems. A lot of times we don't know what each other's problems are. They are there. There's a quote that says, no matter where you are, there you are, right? They're going to follow us wherever we go. So we get to be aware that, hey, this is normal. This is going to happen. This isn't something we can avoid our entire life, right? You can't go somewhere in life without problems. It is life. M is for messages. So this is like the oil light on for your car, right? It gives you an indication, a blinking light that something is wrong or something is coming or you got to fix something or there's a need, right? So it's time to be aware. It's time to pay attention, to prepare yourself, to anticipate some difficulty coming up. But you can tell yourself that it's gonna be okay, right? That you are prepared for this, that you know and you're willing to work through this. I think the thing with problems is it doesn't go away or get better if you avoid it. It's just there. And oftentimes it gets bigger or it gets worse or it gets harder to deal with because you've avoided it for so long, right? So if you have that light come on, if you see something, we can anticipate the problems and we can get to work to solving them before they become a bigger problem, right? Or before maybe we mentally step away too long to where it's harder for us to step back in, which can be a bigger problem in and of itself, right? So problems can make us stronger and we can anticipate them and be prepared for them. S is for solvable. There's always an answer, period. End of story. There's an answer, right? So if we know that every problem has an answer, we know it's solvable. Perhaps we haven't found it yet, but it's solvable. And there's probably more than one answer. It's not like it's this mysterious thing where you have to have one perfect answer to solve a problem. And if you can't find that one perfect answer, then you're in trouble, right? Or you're never going to solve it. So there's probably more than one answer. And I would dare say, like I said earlier, I think I had this somewhere in my notes, so I'm just saying whatever, but you probably already know the answer to some of your own problems, right? A lot of times it's the thing that we know and we've been avoiding. So don't stay satisfied. Know there's always an answer. Begin with the end in mind. What's on the other side of that problem? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? What do you see as in an ideal, perfect world on the other side of that problem? And then what do you need to go to work to solve to create that space to get there, right? So what are your options? So some questions for you guys to kind of ask yourself, write down, think on later. What problems do you need to face? Maybe it's business, maybe it's life, maybe it's something personal. Take some time just to think about that. What problems are going on? What problems do you need to face? Decide to take ownership of each problem. Maybe it's a problem you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a problem that you've kind of set off to the side. What problems do you need to write down? And then decide to take ownership of each problem. If you've blamed, if you've set it aside, whatever it is, decide to take ownership. It doesn't mean that other factors aren't involved, but you can take ownership of what you can control. And then what possible solutions can there be to this problem? There's probably several, like I've said. Which one will work best for you? Which one will bring you forward in your goals? Nothing helps if you write down the problem and you write down the solution, but then you won't take action, right? Because I know that some of these things we've gone around in circles. I know from experience, I know from coaching people, I know from all of like some of the same things resurface, right? So if we keep going round and round in circles and we're not willing to actually follow through and have the discipline to take action, then it's never going to help us get to the opportunity and to the actual growth. So what problem is there and what can you physically do to create the solutions? And which ones are you going to actually take action on? Are there any solutions that you've been avoiding? Why are you avoiding it? And are you ready to stop avoiding it? That's an important question because it all sounds great, but if you're not ready, then that's not going to change, right? Are you ready? Are you ready to create solutions? Are you ready to take ownership of the problems? Once you work through some of these things, once you journal through some of this, or maybe you can think of past things that you're in the middle of or that you've done, gotten on the other side of some solutions. Question for that is, what is the blessing in this problem? What is the opportunity? Think of the past problems you've had in your life. Did you grow and learn through them, or did you avoid them? Which ones did you find opportunities in? I think we can all look on past struggles, problems, failures, relationships, confrontations, all the things that are hard in life. And we can probably think of ways that we could have done things better, that we maybe didn't show up in our best as our best selves, that we maybe handled something wrong. But we can absolutely mature with how we respond to and how we deal with problems. 1000%, right? Some of that's going to come with experience. Some of it's going to come with time. And it's always going to come with a decision to take the high road and to take responsibility. And it doesn't mean there's an instant fix. And we do sometimes need to feel what we need to feel in the things. It doesn't mean it's magically going to go away. Okay, here's a problem. I'm going to solve it and poof, my life is easier. Doesn't mean that. But it means that we can move forward through this. And instead of hiding or avoiding or blaming or becoming defensive, we can posture ourselves to one of leaning in, asking questions, being open to learning and to looking for the solutions. But the important thing is before the problem comes, because when the problem comes, then we're in this heightened state, or that whether we run from it, whether we're reacting to it poorly or whatever it is, before the problems arise, we have to decide that there's always a solution. Decide before the problems arise that there's also always growth opportunities and blessings to be found, because how you posture yourself when something hard comes is going to be very, very different if you've decided that ahead of time than if you go to a past state of avoiding or reacting poorly, right? So lean in. Don't be afraid of those. Don't think of it as an indication that something is going wrong or that you aren't a good leader or this isn't, it's something to run from or hide from, right? Or this is you and not other people in your business, or it's not on the timeline that you wanted, or you missed a goal and like it says something about you or your business. Problems are a part of this business. It's a part of your journey. It's a part of your success. Everyone has to have problems to have success. So own yours, be okay with that, learn from them, use them to learn and grow and to catapult you to where you want to go. Your response to and your engagement in the problem is the indicator of your leadership. It's not whether you are problem free or even if you can solve a problem. It's your response to and your engagement in the problem that is the indicator of your leadership. People will follow leaders who can, not leaders who don't have problems, but leaders who respond in a way of integrity and someone that they can trust in the face of problems. So be that leader. Problems can reveal the inner work for what a person has done or not done in preparation for a problem. That can be kind of an ouch. In other words, it can bring out character. It can bring out and highlight your integrity. So you can lean into lots of tools in terms of problem solving, right? We have books, be it your family life or business. There's skill sets in network marketing, there's leadership development, there's book clubs and team calls and group coaching and training videos and you likely might even know some of the solutions yourself that you've maybe been avoiding or running from. So I know that I haven't gone into those specific details, and a lot of times those are nice to have, but ultimately it's because we have a lot of the tools. We have the tools to solve a lot of the problems. We have things, you have mentors, you have business coaches, you have things you can lean into. But a lot of times it's going to come back to who we are in terms of what we're anticipating, our character, what we're thinking about our problems, what we define as our problems, what we decide is the message that comes from the problems. And if we decide the message is to run and hide or that we're a failure or we internalize it, then that's going to be the biggest indication of where we move forward in terms of success in our business or not. So we need to get ourselves in check first before we can even go to work to solve the problems or the problems of our team, right? So prepare yourself and decide not to run away or to hide. Decide to lean in, and you can be ready to step into wherever problem comes your way. I hope this was helpful, and that is what I got for you tonight. So if you all have problems, you're in good company because I do too, and we all do. So I hope you guys are have a good night, and I will catch you later.